Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. Hope your summers are going well. The long off-season continues. We are about a month away from training camp. Super exciting stuff. And it's that time of year where people are just posting clickbait, infighting, people attacking me, people attacking each other. I am trying to avoid all of the negativity and just focus on the positive. And the positive is the season is starting soon. However, there was a couple things put out by the NHL Network the other day on Twitter, X, that sparked quite the discussion. And they dropped two of these in the same day. And I just kind of want to go over what a lot of the fans have been saying on these posts. The first post put out by the NHL Network says, "What grade would you give the New Jersey Devils this offseason?" And oh boy, I knew this one was going to be super interesting. I do feel that a lot of people on social media are extremists, one way or another, depending on the issue. But it seems like social media is an echo chamber of people just kind of going off the deep end, and it is what it is. The nature of the beast, as they say. But this one I thought was interesting, and they list in the graphic here additions: Thomas Bordeleau, Connor Brown, Angus Crookshank, Evgeny Dodonov, and then the subtractions: Nathan Bastian, Shane Bowers, Justin Dowling, Nolan Foote, Eric Halla, Curtis Lazar, Daniel Sprong, Tomas Tatar, Brian Dumoulin. So they give the little chart there to kind of set the expectations. Here's what they added. Here's what they let go. And we get to the comments, and oh, my friends. And away we go. Fitz must have incriminating photos and videos of the Harris and Blitzer to still have his job. I mean, the amazing thing about this graphic is that there are like two players total from both sides that anyone would want. Forgot Juho Lammikko and Callan Addison. This is a win for us. F this team. F, D minus, F for Fire Fitz, B plus, D, another F, D minus. It's an F. We need a top six winger, the Hughes extension, a bottom six center, and a rebuild of the bottom six. So far, Fitz has rounded out the bottom six, but that was arguably the lowest priority of all our needs. We finished in the exact same place as it stands. C minus if I was trying to be fair. This is an internal family matter. Please respect our privacy. Angus Crookshank sounds like something I would order at Houston's. F. Fitz, you did F all. F minus, D minus. Unless he comes out on fire during camp, Bordeleau is AHL bound. Going to have to hope it's addition by subtraction. A lot of the players on the right side of this graphic redefined what it meant to be a black hole of offense. Oof, isn't that the truth? The bottom six last year. Stu says C+. New Jersey desperately needed to upgrade their bottom six, and I believe they did that with adding Brown and Dodonov. Their defense and goaltending is set with Hughes, Pesce, Dillon, Hamilton, Siegenthaler, Kovacevic, and Nemitz, then rolling with Markstrom and Allen. This graphic makes it look even worse than I thought it was. Why is everyone forgetting Gritsuk? Dude could be a major upgrade for them this year as well, and the bottom six was solidified. I give it a solid B. What else was any GM supposed to do this offseason? And don't tell me trade Hams, I guess Dougie Hamilton. Can't trust Nemitz or Casey yet. I agree with a lot of that. I will say on this point, I said in the comments to people, Gritsuk, while he will be an addition to the roster for this season, in the context of this conversation, Gritsuk cannot be counted as an addition because he was already in the organization. That wasn't a move we made this summer. And so I'm not sure. A few people wrote that about Gritsuk, and it's like, yes, he's going to be an addition to the roster, but when judging an offseason, he is not an addition. He was already drafted in the organization, and so that's kind of where we're at with that. Jason says, A for all the dead weight that he got rid of. C minus, the moves improved the bottom six, time will tell. C minus, not good enough. I want to say it sucks, but we got a guy named Angus Crookshank, and that's a W regardless of how he plays. Haven't done nearly enough. They needed to be all in, and they haven't shown any interest in doing that. Unfortunate, really. Kind of true. F, lost 4 good depth forwards, lost a good third pair D, and a ton of other stuff. It's honestly embarrassing what the Devils did. Nothing. Another Gritsuk exists. The subtractions are just third, fourth liners or bottom pair D-men or AHL guys, but the additions are low value, low reward. In other words, if nothing was done, it probably would have been better than this. F. Mid, there's some glaring holes still, so I don't think they're done. They need a top six winger desperately in the Hughes extension, but they did fix their bottom six, which is an issue. They still have assets to move in a logjam at right-hand D, which can be extremely valuable. I have no idea what they're doing. Have to add another score on the top six. Fill out the bottom six depth. Lukehughes needs to be locked up. Fitzy better do something soon. And we get an obligatory Rangers suck. Horrific. I thought they were trying to make the playoffs. If Fitzy improved his handicap, it's a D, otherwise an F. No team in the East really improved at all. This is about to be the easiest three-peat for the Panthers. Fitz be gone, C-. Devils organization reminds me of the Yankees organization. Both once proud franchises, and they're both being ran into the ground by bad upper management. Not bad. Brown and Dodonov are solid depth players. Haula is a loss. Oliver, solid D-. Got better by subtracting Dumoulin, but they added no one of substance. And I will say, I disagree with that. Dumoulin was a beast for us in the playoffs. If we didn't have so many defensemen and cap issues, I would have loved to see Dumoulin back, but good for him. He got a payday. Right now, it's a B+ unless they get that Lukehughes extension. I would have graded them higher. Devils, y'all got to get that Hughes extension done, which I do believe will be done, by the way. A lot of people are talking about the extension. I do believe that's a foregone conclusion one way or another. But time will tell. Obviously, we're all waiting for that. The big offseason news that's still kind of brewing. No Lukehughes extension. Why Lukehughes not under subtractions? Don't really know what that means. The only thing that needs to be evaluated for this team is the amount of muscle Jack Hughes puts on. Dude is legit, but needs to hit the weights. Stay out of family business, please. Thank you, Connor Brown. Devils are getting a winner in this deal. So on and so forth. You guys can check this out on X. I will put the link in the description. But people kind of all over the place. But overall, I would say it was fairly negative and a lot of Ds, Fs, D-, etc. And, you know, again, I think a lot of people are super extreme. However, if I'm being realistic, I have to give it a D. And I understand the people that say F. I mean, I could totally understand. If the assignment, or I guess the grading scale is, did you address all of the issues that this team has, which we all know, at a minimum, a top 6 winger for Bratt and Jack, 3C would be nice. You know, if you're looking for all of those to be addressed, and that's kind of what you're judging, then it's an epic fail, obviously, right? The two biggest pieces not addressed. But I do think that is slightly unfair. But I understand the people that kind of want to look at it that way. For me, I'm just looking at the overall team. What did you do to improve the team and give them a better chance to win the cup? And I'm going to have to go with a D. For me, the bottom 6, Brown and Dodonov, are upgrades. Again, the bar very low. Last season, the bottom 6 did absolutely nothing. And so it would be hard not to upgrade them. But we let a lot of guys walk away. Got Dodonov, got Brown. We have a couple young kids in the organization that may crack the lineup at some point this season. And so for me, it's a D. I think that's pretty fair. Minor bottom 6 upgrades that should improve the bottom 6, but I do not think it is moving the needle much at all, if I'm being honest. And so, yes, I think it's undeniable that on paper you say the bottom 6 is better. Is that enough to catapult us further into the playoffs and go on a deep run? It doesn't seem that way. I hope I'm completely wrong. And with other guys stepping up, hopefully it all comes together. But for me, as it stands right now, and this is also assuming that the Lukehughes extension gets done, because if the Lukehughes extension carries on into camp and Luke holds out or misses any time, then it's firmly an F. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think the deal happens inevitably. It probably will come down to September at some point. But I'm just, for my grading purposes, I'm assuming that the Lukehughes extension gets done, because I think it will. If it doesn't, automatic F. No question about it. But I think that gets done. And so looking at it, marginal bottom 6 upgrades probably make the team a little better. Not a huge acquisition of any kind that it's going to really push the team forward. I'm going a solid D on the offseason grade. I think that's fair. But again, I'm not going to, hold a grudge against the people that went with an F. I think, depending on how you look at it, it totally is justifiable. But I'm going with a D. The bottom 6 is better, but a lot of Fs, a lot of Ds, D-. And then there were some people on the other side of the spectrum. They definitely were in the minority, but there was a couple like Bs, I think, in there, which I don't know how you could look at the offseason and give it a B, but, that's your prerogative. I'm going with a D. Hopefully there's more to come, but as it stands right now, assuming the Luke extension gets done, I'm going to personally go with a D. And then later in the same day, they drop another Devils question. NHL Network poses to the fans, is this the year the New Jersey Devils make a deep playoff run? Oof. Coming off of the comments on the first one, I wasn't feeling too good about this. Devs fan 82, not with Fitz as GM. Devs joint, nope. Health is the concern again, but if they stay relatively healthy, it's inevitable. Let's hope so. Devs chick not as constructed, still missing those 2 top 6 left wingers and 3C. I mean, maybe big if they could stay healthy. Obviously, health is a big deal. No. If they don't, I may kill myself, so I hope so. Negative, nope. We got a yes. No. Let's just be honest right off the bat. Nobody from the Metro is making the Cup Finals, let alone winning. Not with how much the Hurricanes have added, they will get put out first round. Now without a third center and another top 6 wing. Hot take alert. I've got the Devils finishing second in the Metro, and yes, they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would love to see it. Think I'm crazy or spot on? Bold takes and fantasy projections on my profile. Then we got Tom. Nope. Out in the first round if they make the playoffs. We got a yep, no. People putting up different meme type things. J-Dubs, nah, they don't have the guys on offense. Still too small and light up front. They don't gain the zone and maintain it. They play for rush opportunities, which is nice in the first half of the regular season, but not down the stretch and into the playoffs. No ozone sustainability. People asking about health. Hell no, they'll be lucky if they make the playoffs. I think that's crazy. Don't see it. Could be if all the stars align. We can't even stay healthy. What do you mean make a deep playoff run? That's a question that should go to Tom Fitzgerald directly. People talking about the teams above us. I mean, it just goes on and on. Didn't add significant depth and are too handicapped by terrible Dougie Palat contracts to do anything to change it unless Luke breaks out this year as a true number 1. That'd be nice. People getting on Fitz. No, because our GM is a moron. Says our scoring is good enough. During the season, then we fail because we can't score. Says we're not going to come back with the same group. And so far, we're coming back with the same group. Says Luke, re-signing is number 1 priority and still unsigned. As long as Sheldon Keefe is coaching their property of Carolina, no chance. Not while Keefe is coach. That's a Leafs account. Totally compromised. Patrick says, if not, heads should roll. I mean, they have the potential to if everyone stays healthy and Fitz can finally extend Luke and get it over with. But even as a Devils fan, I think their ceiling right now is a second-round exit. Fire Boone says, nope, they're worse than last year. I doubt we even make the playoffs. I think that's crazy. If they add a piece or two and stay healthy, then sure. However, those are big ifs. If the core can stay healthy, there's a good shot at getting there, and it goes on and on. And this is another one. I will put the link in the description for you to check it out. And this one was, again, a mixed bag, in my opinion. Now, I guess, what is your definition of deep, right? My definition of deep is conference finals. As I've talked about in previous videos in the past few weeks, for me, the Devils need to make the Eastern Conference Finals this year. It's just where they've been as of 22-23. With the pieces in place, I feel like this is a year where they really need to make a push towards eventually winning a cup and hopefully get to the Eastern Conference Finals, winning 2 rounds. It's only winning 1 round more than they did 3 years ago. 22-23, they get to the second round. Canes got us again. 1 round away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Anything short of that this season, in my opinion, is a failure. Now, a lot of people are kind of all over the spectrum with that as well, but I just feel like has to be a make or break year. Like, there needs to be progress. And we won a round 3 years ago, have not since. It's time to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I understand a lot of the negativity and pessimistic kind of thoughts on this post. And so is this the year for the Devils to make a deep playoff run? If I'm being honest with the roster as is, I'm still going to say no. Because of the road you'd have to travel. Everyone knows Carolina's owned us forever. Could they make the conference finals? I think that is possible. Obviously, winning a cup, different story. You would have to probably play the Panthers at some point, who are the gold standard in the league. And then whoever comes out of the West, which could end up being a juggernaut as well. But deep playoff run, hard to pick them based on the moves that were or were not made this offseason. But the one thing I will say, and this is not being, a lot of you people are going to be like, oh, you're delusional. And some of you, it is what it is, right? I'm just giving my honest opinions. While I would say they're not favored to make a deep playoff run, as I've talked about plenty of times before, if a bunch of things go right, they very well could make a deep playoff run. And I'll even extend that to winning a cup. Now, again, I'm not picking them to win the cup. But do I believe it's impossible for them to make this deep playoff run or win the cup? Absolutely not, because in the end, I still do love our core. And obviously, as many people referenced, health is huge. And now I do think Fitz is kind of hoping for health and counting on that as an addition for the season. I don't like that mentality. Obviously, I am hoping for health as well and want to see other pieces brought in conjunction with the health. But we're not getting those pieces, so it seems, outside of the bottom 6. But if all of our key players stay relatively healthy in combination with some other things. So let's just say, Markey and Allen pick up their play from last year or play even better. So the good goaltending from last year gets even better. Our defense locks it down like they did last year. We see all of our forwards stay healthy. Maybe Bratter elevates his game a little bit and gets closer to 100 points. Maybe Jack stays healthy and finally gets those 100 points. Gritsuk comes out of nowhere and puts up 40 points, let's just say. There's a bunch of things. Mercer has the season a lot of people are hoping from him. I love Dawson Mercer. A lot of people have been down on him. But let's just say Mercer could get in that 50, 60-point range. There's a bunch of things that I do believe, if they happen in concert, that this team could go on a deep playoff run. I really do. It's a lot of hoping, and I don't like doing that, obviously. It's a lot of hoping and wishing. At this point, that's all we could do. But I do think they are capable of making a deep playoff run. I'm not going to pick them to do so. I certainly will be hoping for them to do so. But on paper, an unbiased fan or whoever you want to talk to, it's going to be hard to pick them to go on a deep run. But health is huge. If some things go right, it is possible to go on this deep run, and that's all I could hope for. And that's what keeps me watching and keeps me somewhat optimistic until the optimism leaves my body. A lot of you are going to tell me I'm crazy, but the reality is this team should be pretty damn good. And for the people saying, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs, I think that's complete lunacy. I think they make the playoffs, again, assuming relative health, make the playoffs somewhat easily. But I'm hoping it's a big year. We need some of these things to click. Hopefully Gritsuk can contribute. Hopefully Mercer steps it up a little bit. You know, Bratter, Timo, if he starts lighting it up a little bit earlier. Jack and Bratter are going to do their thing. Obviously, the captain, nicohischier, is going to be solid as always. And so if all of these things kind of come together, I do think it is possible to go on a deep playoff run. I'm not going to pick them to do that. I don't think they're favored to do it. But it is very possible, and I would absolutely love to see it happen. But the summer continues, guys. The summer rolls on. Let me know what you guys think about both of these posts put out by the NHL Network. I thought they were very interesting. It was a very Devils-centric day for them. But let me know what you guys think about this. What is the offseason grade thus far? Is this the year for the Devils to make a deep playoff run? Anything, everything, New Jersey Devils hockey, just throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to all of you, or most of you anyway. Still working on the studio. I have some other things I got to kind of get figured out, but I think I'm getting closer to what I want to do. I'll be back soon. Tons of stuff in the works. We're inching towards training camp and preseason, an exciting time of the year. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your summer. I'll be back soon. Throw it all out there. Throw it all out there. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.